It's Michael Tidwell. Paul.
My last name is pronounced sports.
And Michael B. Casey.
Blocktime.
This is Michael Tidwell.
It's Michael B. Casey.
And this is Paul Sports. Hello. How's everyone?
Good.
Doing well.
This is Blocktime.
It's block time.
Where our blocks
That's
are just beginning.
That's the end.
Awesome.
You know what's funny? I was listening to some of our earlier shows, and we used to say something at the beginning too.
God, why?
I don't know, but we did used to. Anyways, so let's hit the news real quick with everything that's been happening.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
sure,
been a lot going on.
I'm sure y'all are very interested. Of course, I'm not prepared.
I'm at the beach celebrating.
Yeah,
celebrating the events of last week, which were worthy of celebration.
All right.
They definitely were.
So just to be clear, the reason why Paul is at the beach right now is because
what is playing in the background?
This is literally going to be our worst podcast.
That's kind of hard.
Hey, Paul.
I don't think we could get much worse than before.
That is the reason.
Paul,
Yeah,
Paul, are they throwing a party in your name?
They are. There's a big party right now.
So the Bitcoin Honey Badgers.
Lots of people are partying.
The Bitcoin Honey Badgers beat out the Monero Mooners. They edged them out this week, Paul. Congratulations. You are the champion. You're the champion. You're the champion of the first BCL season.
We've just been listening to Freddie Mercury on repeat. Just on repeat. That's the only music that's been playing.
So the Honey Badgers had a bit of a split,
what
right?
What else needs to be said?
The Honey Badgers had a bit of a disagreement and split into two groups, right? So one's still the Honey Badgers. What's the other team's name now?
That's good. I want our audience to pick. So for next season of the BCL, granted,
honeycombs.
just a
Honeycombs.
the BCash honeycombs. But just to give some people the background, the reason why it's so noisy right now is Paul is celebrating because we've been doing this now for 4 weeks, okay, or 3 weeks, whatever. Essentially, we started out with 8 teams. We started out with 8 teams, and they fought.
And then we are the champions.
You are the champions. You edged out the Monero Mooners by 1% this week. It's 3-2. It's a very, very close race.
As a great man once said, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile.
Was that Lombardi?
Once said.
Vin Diesel?
Vin Diesel?
I'm pretty sure that was Vin Diesel, right?
I don't know.
Well, Fast and Furious 1.
Definitely.
All right. Anyways, Paul, congratulations. I need to put like a crown on your head for this week, but Jesus, you're like in a tornado over there at the beach, and it's windy. Anyways, like I said, this is probably the worst podcast in blockchain.
Wind, but there's a lot of wind around.
We put like so little effort into this.
I know.
It's amazing. It's amazing how little effort we put into this. Hey, by the way, while we're on some light topics, did anyone listen to Luke Dash Jr.'s Brian Hoffman vocals?
No, I did not hear those.
Are you serious?
No.
You didn't see what Brian Hoffman did to Luke Jr.?
No.
Oh my God, Paul, you just can't get enough fans out there. It's amazing how many people have heard the BCL.
Refresh my memory.
Did you see that, Paul? The Brian Hoffman, Luke Dash Jr. thing that he's talking about?
Usually I watch every single Brian Hoffman video as soon as it comes out. But you maybe have to refresh my memory. I think I saw this one.
Oh, it's so good. Let's see if we can. Oh my God, Brian's doing so much content.
Oh my God. How does he have time to code OpenBazaar?
I think that's a really good question.
I don't think he does anymore. He just makes shit.
I don't even know if he put this on his.
OP1 has become a meme factory.
Oh, dude, tell me about it, right?
He's been shipping a bunch of stuff like privacy, Tor stuff.
Oh yeah,
I
haven't been following. Yeah, so they got a Tor integration now.
So now,
Cool.
he's come full circle, really. I mean, remember when Open Bazaar was like the thing to make fun of on Bitcoin Uncensored, and now like just everyone took that template and just ran with it, and now we've got like the most ridiculous stuff possible everywhere. And now Open Bazaar is like very virtuous in comparison. It's like a real project. It's got an actual person behind it who's.
I really wish Open Bazaar.
What's going on?
I really hope it takes off. I mean, it's been very, very slow to build, but I mean, as a viable platform to be able to just like sell goods and purchase goods for Bitcoin, that'd be awesome if like there was stuff. But it's like it's a circular loopish thing. There has to be stuff on there for people want to buy.
All right, check this out, Mike. I know Paul can't see this, but here you go.
Oh God.
Oh no! My favorite part is when they do the Asian voice.
Oh my God, Brian. Are we displaying this right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just so good. It's so funny, and it's like so. You get the idea.
Yeah, I get the idea.
And then you have the weird kind of like thing at the end where this guy comes out. I don't know who that is. Who is that?
I don't know.
But my favorite part is when he's like, that's so funny. When he made like little snare or whatever,
Yeah,
like the girl's voice.
The man is a master.
Oh God,
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
funny. Anyways, all right, enough with that. Brian Hoffman, if you watch this show, which you probably don't,
No, he doesn't.
let's just be honest. Good job, man. Maybe now you'll start listening since we gave you a shout out. Doubt it though. All right. Anyways,
So, when are we gonna get to the big story this week?
hold on. Let me fix this window capture. All right, so we can look at this without people seeing us. All right. I don't know. Whenever you want. We honestly don't have that much to cover.
Well, I mean,
that'll go quick.
Yeah, we should probably start talking about it because
You're always waiting to get out of here. Oh, I did want to talk about one thing that Chris Rose posted.
what?
All right, so he posted this with, I usually hate analogies, but this one's spot on. And I really like this because it reminds me of what we were all saying back in 2013. Proof-of-work blockchains were developed to solve a problem that only exists in a small percentage of distributed engineering use cases. Unless you need to build a censorship-free peer-to-peer ledger distributed among untrusted, anonymous participants, the complexity costs and latency and computation costs are simply aren't worth it. It's the same reason that Ford doesn't build a tunnel underneath the U.S.-Mexico border to ferry parts to America. I really like that.
It's a good analogy.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, no, and it's very it really encapsulates the whole thing, especially proof of work blockchains you're talking about specifically, because yeah, they're just basically huge, redundant, inefficient databases, and there's very, very few use cases for them. But money happens to be one, so yeah, trustless transfer of value.
All right,
yeah.
let's get into Bitcoin Cash.
Well, it's
Paul, you had something to say?
because, yes. First of all, the beach is very nice right now. And second of all, you can layer on something on top of with,
Yeah.
and censorship resistant and all these other Bitcoin qualities. You can layer. So the analogy is pretty good, but it's not. I mean, like, if you can take the tunnel between U.S. and Mexico and you can build like ocean on top of it, and then have normal, kind of on top of that layer. So it's a little different.
No, that's a very important
very
point.
simple.
That's a very important point, Paul. Because
that's
transactional
pretty good.
value isn't the end all be all of the technology. Because yeah, you're right. You can layer stuff on top.
Like Hive
They
Mind.
could send in the open. They could do like a credit card transaction, but it could all be denominated in Bitcoin.
Speaking about credit card
So it's
transactions,
a little bit. Bitcoin, for me, I think the story for Bitcoin is that it's both censorship resistant and normal. Like, it's not really one or the other. It's just, if you want something, and it has to work for everyone. Big advantage if you can get the dark market and the light market, and which Bitcoin could easily do, just as easily as it does U.S. dollar today.
I think it's.
So I think that's another piece of the puzzle.
I think the quote is actually speaking more to the applicability of proof of work blockchains to other use cases. Just like blockchain in general.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd also say that
We're gonna blockchain all the real estate.
But
well,
I would also say
yeah.
if you kind of stick with like a really terse definition of blockchain with that, then
well, that's why
it's true across
that's
the board.
why I said
but yeah.
proof of work blockchains, which
Yeah,
it does
exactly.
limit the statement quite a bit because there are other things that may or may not be considered blockchain depending on who you're talking to. But yeah,
If they're talking to me,
yeah.
you know what you're going to get. But
So let's talk about Bitcoin Cash or BCash.
I want to talk about that. All right.
So question, Paul, what about the name and the ticker symbol?
Yes.
So like, what do you think? Oh, you have a.
I made a poll on Twitter for this.
Oh, cool.
So I made a poll on
Why
Twitter.
does it shows Paul's face?
Well,
Paul's face.
we can get rid of it if you
okay.
want. But
I
Paul,
thought he was on the poll.
yeah, but Paul's face really makes the poll.
It really does.
Yeah,
it
I mean,
looks
'cause-
official.
I mean, yeah.
So
'cause
Paul, your face is
it looks
showing-
like it actually looks like Paul ran this poll,
doesn't it? Well, it looks much more official when Paul runs it.
Yeah.
But
So anyways, I asked the question because I was really confused about this. I asked, what is the ticker for Bitcoin Cash? Is it BCC, BCH, or other? Reply below. Essentially, most people said it was BCH. 69%, 25% said it was BCC. Now, I asked this question in the Coin Dojo to have, of course, like Raw Dirty to be like, give me, be like, hey, don't you know your history? BCC. Was Bitcoin Core on this exchange, Bitfinex, I think. And
BitConnect, I think it was.
no.
Not Bitcoin Core.
No. They called Bitcoin Core BCC at one point in time on Bitfinex.
It wasn't a coin though. That's a.
No, but it was like a futures market
Oh, okay.
when BU was coming out. So
Okay.
they called normal Bitcoin BCC. So
odd.
that's
Okay,
why they're
so they were
listing it as
differentiating the token
BCH.
from BTC. Okay.
And that's essentially so I also have an interesting comment. Check this out. So this guy responds, all 4 independent developers recommend using the ticker BCC for Bitcoin Cash. So to me it's kind of like it's just funny. We're running out of tickers.
Well, of course we're running out of tickers. That's bound to happen. We have like 30 different coins each day, right?
It creates confusion.
Well, I don't know. So
But granted, it only creates confusion for a little bit. Everyone kind of knows now that it doesn't.
BCC is as used for Bitcoin Core or whatever is defunct. I mean, there's I don't know, but BCH is what we settled on or seem to have. So I don't really care. Ticker symbol's not that big of a
BCH.
deal.
Well, obviously BCH. At least for my Twitter followers.
Well, that's just because
thought
that's
it
what
was
the
that.
exchanges picked up. That's what it is on all the exchanges.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No,
Who has
let's-
it as BCC?
Here, we can look at it.
Yeah, who has it as
let's
BCC
look
now?
at it. That's why it's still.
Kraken's got BCH.
We can see who's listing as BCC and who's listing at Bittrex, who's doing the most volume in.
Oh,
in
really?
BCC,
Bittrex calls it BCC.
Is calling
Huh.
it BCC, and they're doing the most volume in it.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
BTC is calling it BCC. And Via BTC is calling it BCC.
Wow.
So you have actually more volume being through BCC,
know
although
that.
people
That's
are referring
interesting.
to it as BCH.
I don't really care about the ticker as long as we eventually settle on something. What's more important is the name.
But you see Bitfinex, like
Yeah.
I said, they're calling it BCH because they at one point already reserved BCC for something else.
They will settle on a ticker symbol. I'm more interested in the name because
Of
what do you
course.
think? Is it Bitcoin Cash or BCash? What would you call it?
I'm under the impression that this is an altcoin. I don't like the word Bitcoin in it. I'm not trying to say the project isn't good. I just don't like the word Bitcoin in this altcoin's name.
Well, I'll take the opposite view. I mean, just because anytime a group of people have something, they're allowed to name it. And you can't have the opposing group name your thing, because if so, we would talk about pro-abortion, or it's. I think people should be allowed to name their thing, and I don't think it creates confusion. My example for why it shouldn't create confusion is Bitcoin Dark has been a thing for like the last 3 years, and nobody has ever said anything about
Exactly. but there's the thing. No one's. It's not that popular.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's the thing. It's not that popular, but it's named Bitcoin, so it shouldn't fucking matter, right?
But I also wonder if it used the existing UTXO set, because from my
proof of stake.
Yeah, from my understanding, Clams has really been the de facto only one that's done this.
I don't think Bitcoin Dark did, but I'm not sure. I can't say positive.
So the fact that they took the existing UTXO set and
but now
put the
we're
name,
confusing, because we're now you've confused many different principles.
So
the owner gets to choose. Does it matter if it continues the UTXO set? Does it matter that the
what's your opinion,
still
Paul?
alive?
Yeah,
Given
let's
that only
hear
one
from someone
thing can
smart.
have a name.
What
My opinion is that it's not a hard fork unless the old chain dies, in my opinion. So since this new thing and the old thing still exists, then now you have two things that exist. And I think the original thing that's been around for longer will always have a stronger claim
What about more work?
into a new thing.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting point.
Let's hear Paul's thoughts on this. So what about if Bitcoin Cash at one point in time has more work than Bitcoin normal? Bitcoin
on SHA 256.
Yeah, on SHA 256. Would you consider that the new Bitcoin?
I think it's actually a little bit difficult to actually measure. I think in this case maybe it would be okay, because it's easier to get certain amounts of double SHA 256 at one time than it is another time, because there's different levels of technology as far as efficiency of the caching chips and stuff. But I think it matters if. I think it doesn't. The only consideration that matters is if the old chain is really still alive. Because if the old chain is still alive, it still has its essential qualities. Like people still use it to transact, old Bitcoin. As long as it's still alive, then I think we really have two things, and then I think the older thing has stronger claim to the. Just speaking to like names, not really talking about any other quality. I think if Bitcoin Cash got more work behind it, overlap to a great extent with worlds where placed old Bitcoin and old Bitcoin had been.
So what's funny is the Bitcoin Cash.
They would probably overlap, but they're different things.
Yeah, the Bitcoin Cash people are. This is why I say you don't let the opposing side name the team. They want to reterm and rebrand. What is BTC as Bitcoin? They want to start calling it Bitcoin settlement, which
but how?
I don't know.
But think about it.
It's a fork. They're both.
How do we right now, in normal day centralized governments and industry, determine
trademark law?
So
yeah.
So there's no trademark law.
Yeah, there is
in Bitcoin.
Oh yeah,
right?
no, there is. There totally is. Mark Karpellis hold the trademark for Bitcoin, or he did.
Well,
I don't know who does now.
I mean, this is permissionless technology. You can't.
Yeah, let's be real, man. This will end up in court eventually.
Okay, well,
And this is the regulation is enforcement point, and I think a lot of the stuff that we're talking about you could enforce, because we're only talking about who uses the name on some website. And
Exactly. It's all arbitrary. Yeah.
Interesting. So, I see both of y'all took a lot of notes for this week.
Well, there's only one thing to talk about, really.
I know, but so this is something that I've seen brought up a couple times, and I agree. Bitcoin Cash. 8 megabyte blocks, no SegWit, Litecoin with SegWit, faster block times, different algorithm.
Script as opposed to double SHA 256.
Why not? If we truly just wanted bigger blocks, and I consider BCash an altcoin, what would be the problem with just using Litecoin more?
Well, they didn't want SegWit. I mean, that particular group forked off because they don't want SegWit, and they specifically forked off before it activated.
So let me ask, if Litecoin had 10-minute blocks and 8 megabyte blocks, would that essentially suit their needs?
No, because Litecoin already implemented SegWit.
No, I'm saying if there's all right, pretend with me. Let's say Litecoin didn't have SegWit and 8 megabyte blocks 10 minute. Like, I'm just saying, like, Essentially, it's just a different
Well,
name.
no,
it's just
because
a different name.
it
altcoin.
wouldn't be the UTXO set. Litecoin doesn't share Bitcoin's UTXO
that's fair.
set.
That's
That's
fair.
the fundamental difference.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair.
I mean, because anybody who has had Bitcoin last week
kinda
now
didn't
has
think
both.
about that.
Yeah, that's what the big difference is. It's distribution, it's airdrop or whatever. If it is an altcoin, then it's been airdropped to all Bitcoin holders.
Yeah. Oh, so hey, have y'all been watching any of the things that Tone Vase, Mad Bitcoins, or Jimmy Song has been doing?
A little bit.
So
Tone's been making a lot of predictions.
So they have literally been live streaming like 10 out of 24 hours a day, like 7 days a week.
That sounds very productive. I can barely do like 2 hours.
No, but they are literally live streaming, talking 10 hours a day on YouTube.
That's
all
a
three
lot
of them.
content. I wonder if they can keep the quality up for the whole.
Well, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I actually tuned in to watch them, and I was kind of upset. You know why?
Why?
Because they said, I wonder if anyone's made a Bitcoin Cash transaction yet.
Oh my god!
And I wonder if anyone bought pizza with it. And you know, I did.
Yeah, you actually did.
I actually, it's so crazy. They have like 2,000 live viewers at one time.
Yeah.
Okay, these three guys. Now, granted, I only think Jimmy Song is the only pretty much competent one out of all three of them.
Yeah, Jimmy's Song research.
Not to take away the personalities of Mad Bitcoin Guy or Tone, but
yeah, Jimmy knows his stuff.
Jimmy is the only one there that knows anything, I feel like. I mean, when you have Tone Vase saying, how would you know, I think Satoshi maybe put his Bitcoin Cash on the exchange. I'm like, no, Tone, no. Everyone would know that. And then he says, well, how? And then Jimmy Song says, well, obviously people would be monitoring those early UTXOs and it would be all over Reddit and Twitter, which obviously it would be. I don't know, like when that kind of stuff like rises to the top of like their like when that I don't know, like when that like just not understanding like how easy that would be to track. That's like it makes me wonder, like, man, they have like it has nothing to do with like the viewership.
So that actually brings up an interesting point. I mean, I don't want to take away too much from what you're saying, but some people have said that the lack of dump for BCH or BCC or whatever the fuck it's going to be called is due to the fact that people, in order to put it on an exchange, they have to associate themselves with coins that they may not be associated with or whatever. So they're kind of doxing themselves as in the eyes of regulated exchanges if they dump them.
That's true.
Yeah, because then you got to withdraw you have to withdraw the fiat cash to your bank account.
Well, it depends on the exchange,
but
because you can do Bitcoin on some, like Shapeshift takes it, but you can't really dump like hundreds of Bitcoin on Shapeshift real quick.
Well, also if you have a true amount, just a huge amount of Bitcoin, and you're in a group, you could probably proxy straight to the exchange or something.
I don't think so.
Or I mean,
honestly,
or a bunch of people could go through one group to sell their Bitcoin Cash.
No, you don't share keys.
Well, there's always over-the-counter market.
Yeah, there
I
are,
don't think
but there's
normal
very
people
few
use
of them. I mean, do we have any over-the-counter markets for BCH?
I have
Did you
no
see them
idea.
on that list?
But I do need to plug them in my laptop.
I mean, you don't really see them on lists.
Well, I mean,
Something
public over-the-counter markets, not private. You know what I mean?
You don't think anyone tries to hide
Yeah,
their
but a lot of that
identity
stuff
that way?
Yes, I think a lot.
No.
people just
I'm
like-
talking about going straight to the exchange by
How?
sending their Bitcoin Cash.
The exchanges all have to be AML KYC compliant, man. They're not going to, under the table, do something. They're risking all of their money. They're risking going to jail.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, let's say you send me all your Bitcoin Cash, and then I sell all of our Bitcoin Cash, and on the side give you
Why would
whatever.
you do that on an exchange? Why
How
wouldn't you
how
just
else would
do
you
that?
sell it?
You just trade back and forth a little bit at a time. You send me a little bit of the Bitcoin, I send you a little bit of Bitcoin
No,
Cash.
this is in like a trusted pool of people that want to sell their Bitcoin Cash.
No, that's not a thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's like not a thing at all.
No, I don't think so.
All
I
right.
mean, well, here, give me your private keys and trust me, and I'll sell all
I'm
your...
not giving you my private.
Exactly.
No. Mike, you're not understanding. I'm not ever giving you my private keys. I'm sending you Bitcoin Cash to sell for Bitcoin.
Well, again,
That's what you do with Shapeshift. That's
Well,
exactly what you do with Shapeshift.
It is exactly what you do with Shapeshift.
And I'm saying, do you think other people do?
No, because nobody's going to take the tax burden or
that
regulatory
is,
burden.
But that is what Shapeshift does.
Right, it is
And
what
people
Shapeshift
do
does.
trust Shapeshift.
But
So why
Shapeshift's
wouldn't they
a
trust other
service.
people?
Because it's a service that has a reputation.
I would trust you more than I trust Shapeshift.
Well, here's the thing. Shapeshift has a business account on the exchange, and they can do that. You have a personal account on the exchange, and you're tax dollar liable for every cent you run through there.
feel
You'd
like-
have to be dumb to do that.
I feel like there's Shapeshift probably like services that we might not know about that do things like
No,
that.
they're shady over the counter, but I mean that's not exchange. That's all private off market. Why would you go to an exchange if you have a big pool of people who all have Bitcoin? Why would you go to an exchange? You just trade
no,
amongst yourselves.
you wouldn't.
Right. But
The
that's
person
The
getting the
over-the-counter market
Bitcoin
is very
would.
large, both in Bitcoin and in every Wall Street in general.
Where does that happen? Where does that mainly transact at? In America or somewhere else?
No, that's the point. There is no where. Like,
Yeah. It's
No, I'm just
like-
curious.
It's no exchange.
The
Like,
over-the-counter, like how is that done? Can you explain how that's done?
like if someone calls someone on the phone and they say, we have, do we have a deal for whatever?
Yeah,
You send it
or
over and people sign things and it never hits an exchange.
yeah, that's the whole point.
Bitcoin happens on IRC, and as Michael BCash was saying, we do a little bit at a time to kind of build up your. People have reputations, and they refer, and then
So
it's just
so essentially the example I was using
classic
was
business from like the Rockefeller era, JP Morgan,
the
etc.
the example I was using was essentially instead of using an exchange, you use a network of people.
Right. But I mean, yeah, that's off an exchange. It's over the counter.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
But, yeah, that's not a
Anyways.
network of people going on an exchange and selling. That's a
Oh
totally
no,
different thing.
I know. I was
Yeah.
just wondering if you thought that ever happened.
Yo, that happens all the time.
No, not the. Okay, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
The quantity of transactions is smaller, but the magnitude is larger.
Yeah.
People will buy.
I mean-
if you want to buy like $5 million worth of Bitcoin, some people will do that over the counter and they wire the person dollars 10 times, and they just get the Bitcoin address, and that's I don't know a lot of the details vary, but
Well, strictly speaking, I would call
even though
Coinbase an
that's only
over-the-counter
10
service.
transactions, but it's still $5 million.
I would call Coinbase an over-the-counter service, and I would call Genesis Trading an over-the-counter service because, well, it is. But yeah.
So
Yeah, everything at local Bitcoins is
Yeah.
quasi over the counter.
all right. So here I want to throw a question at y'all or an idea. Okay, thinking topic. So imagine Ethereum goes proof of stake. Okay. I know that's a big, hurdle to get over already, but let's say they do end up going proof of stake like they were
You
planning
really
on
need to
doing.
Exercise your imagination a lot. to get it to do
Hello,
that,
Paul.
but
Okay. Anyways,
You can try.
all right. They go proof of stake
I
and
can
they have a
definitely imagine them saying
disagreement.
that they'll do it next year. I can easily imagine that.
Well, yeah.
That they'll
I-
say
I-
at the end of this year.
I
Well,
think-
it was
if
the end of
they're-
this year. Now it's
very
next year.
easy.
I think if they're smart, they'll just keep saying the end of next year.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit, if I can just a quick story about like the supposedly email spam doesn't work at all. It doesn't like actually collect any revenue, even though the costs are like zero, and you just get to hit like one or two suckers. Really, there are no suckers, it's just zero. But what happens is, we're another wave of people who think that it works. So what happens is people decide a spam thing might be a clever gig. I should blast out email spam to everyone. And so apparently it never ever works, but it just converts people who think it works to email spam.
So the only
That's-
people who it attracts
I think
are
that
people who
proof of
think
stake is
maybe
kinda
that
similar.
works. They see it and think, well, maybe
where it's
that.
just like it's never going to work, but it's just like we'll convert a new group of people who think that it will happen next year.
So it's like it's like a intellectual Ponzi.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's funny. Intellectual Ponzi scheme. Wow. Or
Yeah, it
maybe
is.
just
Like,
a
it is
normal
like a naturally
Ponzi scheme.
occurring Ponzi in a way. I mean, I really didn't like Chris's formulation of the naturally occurring Ponzi. I didn't think it was very rigorous, but
No, I don't agree
Well,
with
that's
that
the thing.
definition. Yeah.
I think this is. I mean, the email spam, right? Because it's like
Yeah, I mean, well,
people do think that it works, and then they just trick more, and then more people join the internet, and then somehow it just
well, I mean, though that
younger
wouldn't be a
people are joining the
Ponzi though.
internet
That
all
would
the
be a
time, and it'll
pyramid
take
scheme.
one or two or three or a few to just set up these email blasting.
Yeah,
That's free.
It's a pyramid scheme, not a Ponzi. I think.
And the longer
Yeah.
you stay in, the more money you make with Ethereum, apparently. Because there's always going to be more
Yeah,
people
the
that think it will
autonomous-
work.
The decentralized autonomous MLM scheme.
See,
Dude, watch like 5 or 6
Viral
years from now, Ethereum is like badass, and
well,
we're like,
no,
oh.
I mean, no. I'm not even saying they can't do it. They may actually do it. I just don't think it's going to be.
I think
as
they could
simple
easily
or
do it. I
straightforward
think
as
they can easily
say.
do it. They just need to use Kubernetes. They need to use data centers, and they need to use master nodes.
Well, I mean, here's
And
the
then
thing.
then boom, they got a awesome platform.
Well, here's the thing: is it's not if they can do it. They could do it
Well, anyway,
tomorrow.
I
The
think
question
I'm worried
is,
that
could
we
they
got-
do it sustainably for like 5 years without it collapsing in on itself? That's the question.
Paul, do you have something to say?
Anyway, we got a little off topic, right?
Well, yeah, I want to throw an
Uh,
idea at y'all, at both of y'all, real quick. All right, so the idea I want to throw at you was a proof of stake coin that has a dispute, and they want to do a fork. Half want to do this, half want to do that. But imagine proof of stake where no mining is required. It's very free. It doesn't cost much to fork the network as many times as you want. Whatever. What does that look like? And I know we've talked about like nothing at stake problems before, but really, what does that look like when you have like a majority, like 50% here, 50% there, or 40-60, or 70-30, whatever? What does that look like with a proof of stake coin? I want to hear both of y'all comment on that.
Well, what would happen would be that one side would have more participation from the validators, and it would look like a bunch of other people are not paying any attention on their computers. What's interesting, though, is that to double sign or they get slashed, but they would be able to sign once on the old chain, new chain. It would be interesting if they could modify the new chain. If they were clever, the people creating the new chain, what they would do is they would say, look, we're going to keep the UTXO set and the validator set, and we're going to let you, because they're not allowed to double sign. Hard fork people could tweak it to kind of, it would be like a replay protection, but only for validators or something like that. It's something like you can double sign, because when you sign on the new chain, it won't be held against you.
Well, yeah,
old
that's
chain.
what I'm saying.
Maybe you could just do that already.
Yeah, I mean,
To your point, it's probably if it's not already the case, for like both chains to just like really, really similar, and to just one, if you run the software, you'll always find, if you're on the old software, you'll find the old chain. If you're on the new software, you'll find the new chain. But yeah, I think it might be possible. If it's not already possible, it's very easy to like tweak the hard fork. The people would be able to basically mine on both sides, I think, right? Because it doesn't really cost them anything as far as the physics.
Yeah, stake is
Stay
stake,
up
and
and you have to
it's
receive the
stake that
messages
exists on
yeah, I
both
mean,
chains.
I mean, this is
You're
of course this is
implying
considering
that,
that it's
but
an
yeah, that's
existing
my thought.
UTXO set. So, in other words, if you have like 1 million Ethereum on this chain, you'd have 1 million Ethereum on every single other chain that uses a fork past that block or whatever. And I mean,
Well, that's the fundamental thing that always gets me about that model of proof of stake is that you always have to rely on a centralized authority to tell you which chain is the right chain. Because with like proof of work, it's really easy. You just look at the one with
the most work.
and,
and
you're
that's
like,
what
oh, that's
and,
the
that,
right
and that's
chain,
what
you know?
and that's what BitPay is going to plan on do. And that's what they're going to plan on doing, regardless of knowing which one's the real chain, just in principle. Just as a side note.
It depends too. So there are
Yeah.
some caveats to that because it is the longest valid chain. Because if somebody did spawn a chain with infinite bitcoins and it got more hash power, nobody would follow it. They would follow, the one that follows the rules. But the rules are subjective, and that's why we have a hard fork. But yeah,
Yeah. Also, it's just so unlikely. I mean, I feel like the only situation where that would ever happen, or like if a really crazy chain had more hashing power, is if someone invented some kind of crazy new technology and then just use that for themselves as a mine.
no, I think it's actually inevitable that the miners will eventually try to disrupt the 21 million supply cap. I think that's
User
inevitable.
activated hard fork.
Well, eventually, yeah. I mean, that's what's going to happen is because eventually when the subsidy starts to run dry and they're not happy with the fees they're getting, a bunch of them, a coalition will say, hey, let's just start making ourselves new Bitcoin.
We'll
And
be dead by then, right?
I don't know.
Because
Maybe
the subsidy
not. It
needs to be
depends.
like that's like 100 years from now.
Well,
if
no,
the subsidy drips down to
because it's
nothing?
2040. It's 2040 when it's the last Bitcoin's minted.
Have you not been paying attention to John McAfee? In 3 years, the subsidy of like a small amount of Bitcoin is going to be fine.
Right. But the last Bitcoin gets minted in 2040. So after that, it's just fractions of a Bitcoin everybody's fighting over.
Oh no, I'm saying like 2140 or whatever. It's
That's
going to
when
be
the last anything is made.
That's like
but
the
still,
last Satoshi.
But still,
Yeah.
here's the thing: fees are going to be much more by 2040 than this subsidy.
No,
Because,
dude, Paul's coming out with drive chains. Have you not been paying attention to this podcast?
Paul, what's the effect of drive chains on the block reward subsidy?
Well, drive chain looks to collect more, transaction fees of other chains. So, like, basically, it would theoretically compete with altcoins and gobble up their transaction fees. And
So that gives miners
maintain
through
Bitcoin miners.
blind merge mining, they get more fees from the actual side chains.
Yeah, but I think Michael Tidwell's point, which is about John McAfee, is that maybe helps protect Bitcoin against, competition from altcoins. So it kind of makes it a little more obvious it should be.
Right, but I mean that's not protection from the greedy miners deciding that they want more coins than just the transaction fees are worth, and they want to be able to issue new ones.
Well, the purchasing power of the so maybe if they could double it, they could say instead of 12.5 we want 20. But if the exchange rate goes up by a similar factor, then it has the same effect, right? So that could be what Michael Tidwell was talking about.
I mean, we'll really never know what I was talking about. That's the sad part. Other news with Bitcoin Cash. Guess who reneged on what they are going to do with withdrawals of Bitcoin Cash?
Who? Wait, what? Oh, Coinbase.
Coinbase.
Yeah,
And, like everyone called this. Everyone called this. Everyone and their mother
Coinbase.
called that Bitcoin
They
Coinbase was going to do this.
fiduciary responsibility.
No, but
You know?
like everyone knew this was going to happen.
Well, what it was,
because
I
of
think,
Ethereum Classic.
It was brinksmanship, and it was because they were trying to do their damnedest to make sure it just died. But the second it didn't die, they're like, okay, well, we have to honor this now.
No, but the funny part is we all knew this was going to happen.
Demonstrates a lack of leadership that they're the followers, right? What they, you know what I mean? Like they don't decide. It reduces their credibility a lot. They say something, but it doesn't matter. Circumstances change, then. That's
true. It does decrease their credibility, but their hands are tied. I think both them and Gemini, they're fiduciaries. They could get in like severe trouble with the regulators for they effectively stole money if they don't honor it.
If they're true fiduciaries, why did they give a deadline for ETC withdrawals?
I mean, I'm
serious. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But
well, here's the thing: is I think they just gave the deadline, and they could probably be sued over that, but they would settle them, like one-offs versus.
It's funny.
ETC is not worth anything.
I think I saw like a CoinDesk or whatever kind of article that says people are suing, or maybe it was Forbes. I don't know what it was. People are suing are threatening to sue Coinbase over their Bitcoin Cash. And I was like, well, it's just a matter of time before they have a withdrawal program. And the next thing I hear is they're planning on doing it.
See, this is the beauty of it though. They're doing it in January. Okay,
what?
You didn't hear this?
No. Tell me.
January is
Coinbase?
Yeah, that's when they're going to do it. Is it January? January 1st.
Dude, what if this ends up being like Paul is jumping out of an airplane right now? Paul, are you skydiving? I mean, how crazy is that party? The party's like in the air.
Yes, we have Donald Trump arriving by helicopter.
Are you at Mar-a-Lago?
Oh, but that's interesting. So they're going to hold your funds through your Bitcoin Cash till January?
Yeah.
To when it's going to maybe either be
they're not going to trade anything.
They're saying that what they're saying is they're
Withdrawals.
working on it, and then you'll be able to split them off in January.
So like January is when
they're
they're
money back in January. I think it reminds me of this joke on 30 Rock where Jack Donaghy promises this old janitor something.
Yeah, that was the Jay Leno, Conan O'Brien thing.
And he's just
yeah.
like, well, Subas is very old, and he just says, die. They ask him, like, why did you promise him that? He's just like, kind of thought he'd die. So I think Coinbase is just kind of hoping that Bitcoin Cash will die.
Yeah, I was
exactly.
thinking the same thing.
They kick the can down the road long enough that it's going to resolve itself one way or the other.
What's going to happen first? Bitcoin Cash withdrawals off Coinbase, or Ethereum goes proof of stake?
No, Bitcoin Cash withdrawals, definitely.
Yeah, and who wants to place bets that they're going to have to move that withdrawal date up sooner than January?
I would not take that bet. I would not take that bet.
I'm calling it right now.
Oh, yeah.
On Blocktime. I think that they're going to have to move that up before January 1st if the price of Bitcoin Cash pumps, especially.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, they went from no date ever to a date that exists in sometime in the future. So, yeah.
I mean, they're going to have to make it like within...
I don't think
if the trend follows, they'll be doing it tomorrow.
Earlier. I think, if anything, they just say, good news, unexpectedly we finished it earlier.
Exactly, yeah. They won't announce it. It'll just happen. And, oh, look, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so
what kind of person announces that? What kind of psychopathic person announces that they're moving their deadline further towards the president? Like,
psychopath
even Brian Armstrong would do that.
All right, so I have a question for. Oh wait! One more thing about Bitcoin Cash. Did you?
No, I got a lot of stuff about Bitcoin Cash.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about more before we jump off that topic, because we're kind of almost done. We don't have much. But did you, John Seth? All right, Paul, are you listening? Are you jumping out of a helicopter?
Yes.
It sounds like you jumped out of a helicopter
onto a motorcycle.
Well, I walked away from the beach. I walked to a very nice place that has an ice cream place and whatever, to try and get further away from the wind and closer to the Donald Trump helicopter. And so it's a trade-off of different.
All right, so check this out. I bought John Seth two large pizzas. Right. Okay.
With Bitcoin Cash?
I paid for it.
Did that actually happen?
No. So in honor of the original transaction, you have to use a different currency, and then they pay you in Bitcoin Cash. So John Seth pays me in Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah. So he bought them with Bitcoin.
So the funny part was
no.
The pizza place accepted Bitcoin, and John Seth didn't know that.
That's hilarious.
It was completely ironic. So I paid for his pizza in Bitcoin, and he pays me in Bitcoin Cash. It's so funny.
Yeah, the original one with Laszlo, that was paid for in dollars.
Yeah. No, that was the exact way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, can you London and Miami, right?
Yeah,
that
I think
original
it was
one?
England. I don't know if it's London. It was Florida.
So tell me, Laszlo, he's the guy who
Laszlo was the guy. He was the guy who ordered the pizzas in Florida, and he is also the first guy to figure out how to use GPU to mine.
Wait, I thought it was the guy in London or the guy in England that purchased the pizza for him in Miami.
Yeah, he did, but he called with a credit card over the phone and gave him the credit card number.
The guy in London.
In London, yeah.
Or the guy in England called the place in Miami.
Papa
Okay, that's what I did. So I called.
Yeah.
So I placed an order there and paid in Bitcoin. So it's like the same thing. So now instead of fiat money, you pay in Bitcoin for the new money, right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of a funny joke because John Seth is like
funny when
definitely doesn't like Bitcoin Cash.
You paid him in the
Yeah. But it was just so funny that place.
You paid him in the newer version. You didn't pay him in the older version.
All right, so Paul.
Here's the old Bitcoin.
Mike and Paul.
Old money.
Mike B. Casey, Paul Sports.
Yeah.
This is the funniest thing. John Seth films himself accepting the pizza, walks out of the pizza shop, and he's approached by like a homeless lady.
He gives the pizza.
And the homeless lady
in front of her.
No. Check this out. The homeless lady says, "Hey, can you give me a ride down the street?" And John Seth says, "Sure." And he's filming while eating pizza with the homeless lady and his dog, Lady.
Okay.
So he has Lady in the back, and he's like feeding Lady all the breads, the crust. So he'll eat the pizza and then give the crust to his dog. And he has this lady.
How is he driving and eating pizza?
He's talented.
Oh, dude,
he's very talented.
Yeah. So he's filming himself eating pizza with this lady that he just met off the street, and I'm like, dude, this is great. And he's like trying to tell this lady, like, "Oh, so this is a Bitcoin Cash transaction. Do you know what that is?" And she says, "I have no idea." So funny.
Wow.
And he sent me the. I don't know if he's going to post the video or not.
What a world we live in.
Yeah.
That's
Wait, hold on, real quick. it's not. It's not on this computer. I have to re-download it. But anyways.
So back still on the subject of
Bitcoin
Cash.
Yeah.
So what do we think? Do you think it will? Because I thought it was actually probably going to die a very quick death. That hasn't happened even with the reduced hash rate power. It seems to be stabilizing, leveling off.
The difficulty already readjusted, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so it has a rule. And let me see if I get this rule correct. I didn't read it very thoroughly. But if
Paul, man, come on, stop hitchhiking over there on 18-wheelers.
So if the last 6 blocks have been over a certain period of time since they've been found within, then each successive block that fits the criteria is reduced 20%. And I don't remember the exact rule, but so it is dynamic. It readjusts. It has an extra rule. Other than that, it works just like Bitcoin difficulty change.
Paul, mute yourself.
Blocks.
Mute yourself when you're not talking. There's you're like standing in the middle of a highway. Like, come on, man.
But there's been a special separate rule that's been added as part of the hard fork that does allow it if the hash power is woefully inadequate for the current difficulty level to scale down rather quickly. So it's 20% increment declines. And that's what it's been doing. And I think last I heard there was up to like 12.5 minute blocks.
Yeah, so I was listening to Jimmy Song or whoever talk about this. I don't know who it was, but it was essentially like 10 blocks on Bitcoin Cash is equal to about 2 or 2.5 blocks on Bitcoin.
Well, I mean,
and
that
as far as like difficulty is concerned.
Well, as far as difficulty, because it's been dropping and dropping and dropping.
And I've also heard that it's like 30% less profitable or some kind of percent less profitable to mine on Bitcoin Cash at the moment.
Something like that. I thought I read 2.6%.
That's it?
No, 2.6x.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
X. Okay, I was about to say like 2.6. That's not much.
2.6x. So here I'd like to ask everybody, what do we think the impact on persistent, successful-ish Bitcoin Cash will be on the SegWit 2x hard fork that we're expecting in about 3.5 months?
That is a great question.
Because I don't know what it's going to do.
Paul, you want to start this one up? You have to unmute yourself and while you're standing in the highway.
Okay. No, I'm not tone-based. I always remember to unmute. You had a lot of bad luck. There were a lot of people in like Harley Davidson and stuff. Very loud, very loud helicopters carrying important dignitaries from the world and even other planets were arriving to celebrate this.
So what do you think about the question, Paul?
I think is SegWit 2x dead? I don't know. I kind of think it is. I agree that if Bitcoin Cash succeeds, it's just kind of like, then how many forks will there be? Maybe there won't be, instead of being 3, there'll be 8 or something. And it'll just be like
James Lopp is saying 3 with 2x.
So does it strengthen the case for without 2x? Because basically, effectively, we have 2 pure visionary coins. One that is a settlement layer for a tier 2 with SegWit and a very low static block size. And then another one which is just scale as is on chain.
The only thing that if they decide not to go with 2x part of the SegWit 2x is they still don't get their bigger blocks on Bitcoin with SegWit like everyone initially agreed on.
But the core crowd, they never agreed to it. The core
I'm
crowd.
talking about the NYA.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
That's the important thing. I think so.
Yeah.
That's the important aspect of it. Is that so? The thing is, would the Bitcoin Cash satisfy the large block coalitions? The answer is almost certainly no, because Coinbase can't even support it until January 1. And the other thing is, if they're satisfied, it would persuade them to say, okay, we don't need. But I think the problem with that is a lot of damage was done by the fact that I didn't just go over on Sunday when they were making the New York agreement and kind of
tell them about drive chains
and kind of fix everything, because they've all committed to this plan now, and I think they have to either follow through on a
What were you
commitment
doing that day, Paul? That's what I wonder. What were you doing? Did you have something really important?
I was writing the announcement for a drive chain for the Bitcoin devs.
Did anyone read it? I mean, come on, man. You wasted.
I only live like an hour away from where they had the meeting.
Oh, are you serious?
Little tragedy.
That sucks.
I know, because I live like an hour outside of New York, so I could have just gone into New York, found the meeting, and then but I had to finish writing the driving email.
So I don't want to make a prediction here, but one thing that could happen, one way it could go down, is the core side, because of the existence of Bitcoin Cash, successfully lobbies to where enough of the user base or whatever that they should stay on that. So they never release another version of core that has the 2x code in it. And then they add some other new features because they got 3 months to do that. So maybe they throw Mimblewimble or something. I don't know. But
I wish we could ask Chris some of these questions.
Well, hold on. So
no, but I think that's a different question though. I think you're going to confuse because the issue is I think the core developers never supported it. They didn't.
Right. They never did. But well,
not a lot of them don't support it.
So hold on. Let me finish with my line of thought real quick. So for whatever reason, they successfully knocked back the New York agreement on the main chain, and then because of that, the New York agreement isn't honored, and then the majority of miners defect over to the other chain, and it effectively becomes Bitcoin. I mean, that could happen.
Yeah, but I don't understand your point about because of that, because they were never planning on using the core developers for the.
Well, that's true, but I mean,
literally like Jeff Garza could do.
We're right. But I'm saying if for whatever reason they convince enough users to blockade it, and you get this, I don't even know how that works because UASF doesn't actually work. And the more that I think about it, it doesn't. All they do is fork themselves off the network. I mean, effectively, right?
I mean, if you're going to fork, you might as well fork yourself.
That's true. So I was having
instead of someone forking you.
I was having a discussion with somebody on the dojo about this, and
was it Raw?
Yeah, it was
Raw Dirty, the guy who wants to argue with everybody, but
here was the problem: is because I was talking with a couple of other people, and it was about the merits of because they were saying, well, the node count is too small on. Or would be too small if you have a large blockchain. So there goes your censorship resistance. And I said, well, not really, not quite, because you always have the option of sending a transaction directly to the miner. You may have to pay a little bit more for that. You have to find a miner, but you can always send a transaction directly to a miner and bypass the nodes entirely. And then once it's accepted in a block, they have to honor it. They literally, the nodes have to say and accept it. And Raw Dirty kept saying, well, no, they don't have to. I was like, yeah, they don't have to, but if they don't accept the transaction, if it's valid, then they don't accept the block. If they don't accept the block, then they don't accept the chain.
Didn't someone want to start a service where they did this?
They do. But via BTC did. The transaction accelerator. Yeah, they take them directly. Oh. But I mean...
I would like to say Raw is pretty technical.
No, he's very technical.
Just as a disclaimer.
He's very technical.
He is a very technical, smart person, but...
I just didn't understand his
communication
point.
Can be weird.
He kept going on and on about it's doing a hard fork on a small number of consolidated nodes, and I was like, well, if you've done a hard fork, nobody gives a shit what your node says anymore. You're off on a different network. Nobody cares. You can hard fork at any time. It doesn't matter. The rest of the network doesn't give a shit. I don't know. All right, I digress.
No, I think that's another point that I was making about the New York agreement, which is that you don't need just they had this thing in there about bit signaling. You need to say for the hard fork itself and for SegWit, meat-based consensus of humans,
right?
All meet in a boardroom.
It's not code. It's meat space.
And
yeah.
A certain date, then you don't actually need to do any signaling. You can just fire up one network, fire up the second network, or a certain date, and then you're done. So
the signaling
nothing really matters.
The signaling's for our benefit. It's for us plebs who don't run a huge mining pool. So we know what's going on.
I know what pleb means now.
You do?
I learned that for like a couple months ago. I think Paul Sports used it.
I love that word.
He uses words like pleb.
I don't remember using that. I don't remember using that word, but I believe it refers to plebiscites, right? Like the lowest.
The plebeians, the plebeians of the Roman society. They were
I forget who I heard say pleb. It was someone in the dojo or somewhere. I had to look it up, but anyways.
Yeah. It's a good
Now
word.
everyone's Googling that who's listening to this podcast.
You mean nobody?
No one's Googling that.
We don't have Cletus on anymore, so nobody listens.
We're not controversial enough
Yeah,
now.
we're not.
Yeah.
So, so I don't know. What do you think's going to happen with this whole? So here's another thing that's very, very interesting now that BCash is a thing. Like,
I was surprised to hear Aaron come out so strong for it at the meetup.
Aaron. Oh,
Our
I
Aaron.
wasn't. No, he's like ridiculously anti-core.
And I think
Like
Chris
ridiculously anti-SegWit.
I think Chris Cletus is for Bitcoin Cash or no?
No.
I don't.
He works on 2x, dude. I mean, like that's you know.
No, but is he like way against it or?
Oh, what? Bitcoin
I don't know.
Cash?
I
don't
haven't
know.
really talked to him about it, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where he
maybe
stands.
maybe we're not allowed to talk about that.
I don't know. Anyway, so it's interesting though because I'm thinking, and I could be wrong. I always could be wrong, but it's possible.
Always wrong.
I'm always wrong.
Always.
So the two chains have a couple of different ways they can attack one another. So the simplest way for the majority chain to attack Bitcoin Cash is through hash rate attacks. They can, just do burst mining hash power devoted to the chain for a while and just make them come uber fast to get the difficulty high up enough and then withdraw it.
That's interesting.
So that's one way they can fuck with the chain. And also if there was enough hash power, they could start orphaning blocks and doing all sorts of crap like that, and even double spend or whatever. Because nobody's going to honor a double spend. But you know what I mean? It's like, I don't think that would really make a big impact. But the other thing it could do is the other side, Bitcoin Cash. Because SegWit's like about to be activated, but it's not going to be an immediate block size increase. And to the people who think it's going to be this fast, immediate block size increase, I don't think that's going to happen, because you have to have a lot of people actually adopt SegWit transactions. The wallets have to have it fully flushed out, and you have 3 tiers of it to be activated, 3 different bips. So if we don't see any significant growth due to SegWit and the block size, then the Bitcoin Cash chain can attack the Bitcoin chain, the BTC chain, just by spamming, because they still have both. Like, if they haven't sold their BTC, which I don't think en masse they have, but they prefer Bitcoin Cash and they want to hurt the other side of the chain, they can just, say like Roger Ver or whatever could, if he wanted to, he could send himself high fee transactions back and forth, paying fees to the miner on that chain, and just clog it the shit up, because it's never going to clear. Unlike Bitcoin Cash, which has so much more transactional bandwidth, even with the slow blocks.
Roger Ver has a lot of power to do stuff, at least in the short term.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's got
and
a
when
lot
I say short term, I mean like 6 months.
Yeah. Well,
potentially.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know how much the guy
I really
has.
think the big question is the SegWit 2x question, which is that maybe might be persuaded, even though they agreed. All the people who agreed to do SegWit 2x might be persuaded that it wouldn't work and that it would be very embarrassing.
Maybe. Yeah.
That's what I think. It's the only way I see them not doing it, because they agreed to do it, and that, agreeing to do something is kind of a, you commit to something, so you should.
See, it's so funny because everybody agreed on the Hong Kong agreement. Did that happen?
Yeah, you're right. That's true. That didn't happen at all.
It didn't happen at all. No. And was that like major fallout from it? Well, other than a 2-year block size war? Well, no individual person was blamed.
Well, it is a little different. When you want to commit to something, one thing that you can do to make the commitment stronger is like make a big deal out of it. So like announcing it at consensus and make, kind of promoting it a lot. That can help. Whereas the Hong Kong agreement was kind of like some weird thing that only found out about like.
I don't know.
Days later.
No, they had like a huge
couldn't even get like a clear text of it.
Like everybody went there, and it was this huge meeting with all the miners, and Adam Back was there, and he signed something, and then he didn't sign it, and then he signed it again under a different thing.
And then Peter Todd came out with 3 articles saying everyone lied.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's the thing is you're already seeing things now saying that agreement's null and void. You're seeing it from the core crowd because via BTC isn't contributing 100% of their hash power to the New York agreement. They're throwing a little bit at Bitcoin Cash. And I don't know if that would constitute them violating, because they're still supporting it. They're just doing something else as well. I don't know. I don't know.
See, that's the interesting thing is if one or two people break the agreement, does it just explode and everyone dies?
Well, well, think about like the European Union. So like, England's out, but like if a couple other countries leave, right? What happens to it? It would implode, right? It'd be just Germany and
Greece.
It'd
be Germany constantly bailing out Greece. Apparently, it's like from the EU, like from my knowledge of it, it always seems like Germany's bailing out people.
Well, I mean, they're the only.
They still have that
they
Nazi
have the
gold.
Strongest economy.
They still have the Nazi gold.
No, they sell Beamers.
Oh, okay, that works too, and Mercedes, right?
They're always up to something.
And Porsche.
Yeah, they sell all the nice cars. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really good engineers over there.
Very good engineers, but no, the Germans make a lot of money.
Education and great. They have lots of great work ethic. And
They're just a very angry people if you listen to them talk. That's how they're
They
so
sound
profitable
all right,
in
guys.
all their endeavors.
Guys, I gotta go soon.
Oh,
All right.
let's wrap it up. We're pretty much done. I do want to say it seems like everyone is coming out with an Ethereum workshop. I've been getting emailed so much saying, "Hey, can we advertise at the meetup to talk about this Ethereum workshop?" What do y'all think about that? Should I just say
that's
go
the
for
new
it?
code phrase for ICO. They can't say it anymore because the SEC is going to get them.
No. These people are no. I've talked to a lot of these people. They're running like Ethereum workshops, like developer 1 track, developer 2 track, business track 1, business track 2, like depending on your, what your previous skills are.
Michael B. Casey is right that what's fueling it really is that
fueling it, sure.
The allure of
I'm talking about what they're actually going to
value
be.
of the human network.
Well, it'd be funny if you go to the Ethereum workshop course and they're like, okay, guys, we're our first lesson we're going to be making a ICO.
Well, literally, that's what 101 is in Ethereum. Literally, the first thing, if you go to the
Yeah, I know.
website, it literally shows you how to make a token.
I mean that's what I did. I made a Tidwellian.
That's literally the first the hello world of Ethereum is make your own token.
And then the third workshop on their website is make a DAO or something.
Yeah. That works out real
Anyways,
well. Yeah.
Should I let them advertise at the meetup? What do y'all think?
I don't know.
Ultimately, it's my decision, but I was just curious if y'all had thoughts on that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if they want to sponsor,
Well, I
sure.
think you should let people advertise.
Well, they don't
Let
get
people
up any
advertise
more
and
than a
then just make
blurb
fun of that.
Geno's does.
Wait, would you say, Paul?
So you can just let people advertise and then you can just make fun of them.
Oh, I thought you were.
Uh,
I was thinking I would take a Mo 11 approach to it.
You mean take any money you can get for under any circumstances?
Well, essentially, if people find this interesting in our group, let them. They know what I think about it if they talk to me individually. But
are you going to put up a Paycoin banner?
No. That's why I have you, Mike. I have you to keep me within reason. But I mean, I don't know. I was thinking if people actually want to do these Ethereum workshops and understand it, hey, I mean,
Well, no, I'm not against Ethereum workshops. Honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
yeah.
No, and encouraging development. I still, I know not all of us agree, but
Yeah.
I think there are some valid use cases for Ethereum. And they may be absorbed by Rootstock one day, or may not. I don't know.
Well, I'd like to say drive chains. Oh, one more, Paul. Let's end on this, okay, Paul? Because I really like the idea of drive chains, and you just brought up Rootstock, so I know Paul's wants to do his own thing that isn't Rootstock. What do you think about Civic using? Because Vinny Lingham was talking to me on Twitter, and he was talking about Civic using Bitcoin, and I actually forgot or didn't know that it's going to use it through Rootstock. Oh my God, Paul, is everyone okay at the party? Sounds like someone's getting picked up by an ambulance. No, but
Actually, yeah, there's an ambulance and a fire truck going somewhere.
all right, Paul. I hope you can hear me. What do you think?
So everyone will be fine.
How could you? All right, why would Civic use Rootstock instead of drive chains, and why does it seem like Rootstock has such a leap on you?
I don't know. It doesn't seem that way to me. Maybe it seems that way to other people. I don't know.
I mean, that's how it
What
seems
does
to me.
Rootstock have?
Neither one of them exist yet, as far as I know.
Why would? All right, so let me ask you: if Civic wants to use a sidechain, have you been talking to Vinny Lingham about using drive chains? Because that would be a great promotion for drive chains.
I don't know that it would. Would it really? I mean,
Any publicity is
Civic's kind
good
of
publicity
what
for
is Civic?
something that no one knows about. right?
I don't know. I mean, I think Civic
I feel
would
like
be the killer app of Paul's technology.
No,
I think,
no. I'm just saying because the reason being is I feel like out of the people who actually know about rootstock, I feel like, or as far as people who know about sidechains, I feel like people are more likely.
Oh, did he cut off, Paul?
Is Paul gone?
Paul's gone.
Well, maybe he didn't want to answer that question, but I
Man,
doubt
I
it.
had another question for him too. Damn it.
No, wait. He said call me back. All right, we'll have him. We'll have him
I gotta
answer.
remember the other question.
Wait.
We are calling Paul back, ladies and gentlemen.
I have Paul's personal number. It is for sale if you're a sponsor at my meetup. Hey, Paul.
Oops, hello.
Hey, Paul. Welcome to
Hey.
Blocktime. This
Okay.
is Michael Tidwell.
And this is Michael B. Casey. So
Caller number 1.
So I know we were getting close to wrapping up, but
Yeah.
he was basically, he was talking about, advertising, for your competing solution.
I just
to,
feel like not enough people
drive
know
chain
about
rootstock.
drive chains, is what I was getting
Right,
at.
but I mean, I think that's not.
I don't think anyone knows about Civic either. I think the whole thing
Yeah.
is just a big, like people do. Only people like us are sensitive to like what's published in CoinDesk or whatever, and a lot of that stuff is just you pay for it. And I think those are like the really low hanging fruit. You can get that attention from those types of people who do this stuff all the time.
So I do have a question for you, Paul. So
The currency news scheme. So I think really I'll get all those people.
I just
yeah.
can't.
So
Whenever I launch.
your drive
Yeah.
chain solution, I know because
So it won't matter.
we've discussed your drive chain solution isn't necessarily dependent upon SegWit. You would use it for script versioning, but is there any possibility of an implementation of drive chains on Bitcoin Cash if it were to blow up or whatever? Or
Are you against that?
Are you against that personally, or what do you think for the possibility?
Anyone who wants to work on it and use it on their thing, I'm totally for that.
Okay, so you're kind of fork agnostic as far as that goes for drive chains.
I mean, speaking of which, is there a test blockchain or testnet that is currently doing drive chains? I forgot if we've already talked about this.
I didn't understand your. What did you say?
Is there currently a testnet or other blockchain using the idea of drive chains?
Oh.
I forgot if we've already discussed
no,
this.
But we're we're doing that though. We're gonna have our own system for that.
Awesome, cool. Well, I can't wait to see that up and running.
But yeah, I think right now there's not. No.
Cool. So, want to wrap it up?
All right, Paul, we're going to wrap up this this block because I think the nonce was just found.
Yeah, and our blocks are slow due to difficulty recalculations.
Paul, you want to add in a little catchphrase?
That's what I was the difficulty as we targeted. I guess no. There's nothing.
All right. Thanks for propagating with us.
The block subsidy has halved.
Nice.
Thanks for propagating, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.